We're going to be doing more team fixing today. We're going to be doing more team fixing. You guys really liked that Sandstorm team that I fixed last time. A lot of people were really happy to see me take the time to fix something that seemed pretty unfixable. So we're doing another team fixing stream. We're accepting any teams from chat. If we get a ton of people wanting to send teams, we'll open up a little bit of a raffle or something to where we can randomly pick teams from all the ones people submitted in chat. We already do have a team though. Yoshi Kenobi already sent in a team, right? I think that's what it was. Yeah, sure. Yoshi Kenobi already sent in a team. It looks pretty cool. We'll be taking a look at it in a sec. But again, thank you guys so much for all the support on these team fixing streams, the team fixing videos and stuff like that. It's good to know that people just want to learn this stuff, and I'm happy to help if I can. So let's read what they say. This is a team I tried to build. The idea was Lunala plus either Reshiram or Blacephalon, Helping Hand or some boosted Heat Wave from them, KO Zacian with 180 HP. I liked Lunala, so I wanted it as a max option. Cool. I think it's going to be good. So let's start taking a look at that. It should be right here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Professional YouTuber extraordinaire. You can see that this Reshiram has Fling, which I think is actually kind of cool. Because we can fling our Choice Scarf, which deals very, very little damage, into our Lunala to activate its policy. And we have Blizzard, we have Meteor Beam. Oh, we gotta cut that call of mine, bro. Can't have that. But a bunch of really, really cool stuff. And we also have a Vested Groudon. We can fix it up a little bit. Indeedee, we can definitely fix it up. It doesn't even have nature. Zacian, we can definitely fix this up. And Whimsicott, we can fix this up. So this is a really, really cool team. This is the perfect example of the type of team that I would like to see people submit for these team fixing streams. Because it's almost there. It just needs to be polished up just a little bit to be able to handle a wider variety of situations. I think the biggest problem a lot of people have when they submit teams is they submit teams that respect 4 of the 5 big things. They respect they might respect Fake Out, or they might respect Prankster Tailwind, but then they're not respecting Trick Room, or they're not respecting Wide Guard, or they're not respecting a specific mon, it's a max option or a different sort of weather. This team does almost everything right, but it can be made just a little bit more well-rounded, so it's going to be the perfect team for taking a look at today. So let's get into it. I order pizza every Monday. I love Monday pizza. You know, I'm a big Sunday pizza person. But I didn't have pizza yesterday. So, you know, maybe pizza today. Who knows? Who knows? What I'm going to do is start this off by making a second version of this so I can go back and talk about the differences between the teams. But basically, I think this team's done almost right. The EVs need a couple tweaks here and there. But I do think overall you're doing a few things really, really well. Before we really get into this, I want to talk a little bit about, let's see. There's a few different things we can do here to start. I'm gonna just have some coffee and then we'll start up in just a sec. Because there's a few things I want to go over that you're doing right before we get into what you're doing wrong. So we'll talk about that in just a sec after I have a little bit more coffee. I had to make this coffee last all day. All right, well, not all day, but all stream. Is Reshiram or Blacephalon, because they outspeed Zacian when Scarfed. I think Blacephalon's a really good mon because it plays around in a Fake Out, but you have Indeedee, so I think you're okay. But yeah, let's talk about the things that you're doing right. I really, really like that you have an idea what this team you want to accomplish. Reshiram, very aggressive, paired with Lunala. Really cool stuff. You can fling, you can be aggressive for Zacians, good stuff. You also have terrain control, you have weather control, you have a big mon that's not max that can deal with other max mons, and you have Prankster Tailwind. So far, you're doing every single thing that I would like to see players do right. You have a dedicated game plan, you know what you need to do, you're playing to your strengths, and that's great. The only thing that I think you're being let down is on your EV spreads and your movesets. I think that's what we can really polish. I think these are a great 6-mon squad. Let's talk about a couple weaknesses you have. You have a couple ground weaknesses on Zacian and Reshiram. Those can be mitigated by Whimsicott for the most part. It'd be nice to have a flyer on this team, but I definitely understand why the team works like it does. It might be cool to maybe see a Yveltal instead of Lunala, but I do like the Lunala as well. But anyways, let's talk about changing some of these moves. Let's just go over a few rules if you're going to be playing with this team like this. The first rule, I think, is that if you're ever going to be using Tailwind, you really, really, really have to be using Protect on the Tailwind mon. That way you can Protect to avoid Fake Outs. If you don't have Indeedee, it means you don't have to bring Indeedee and Whimsicott together. It's a really, really low power board. But also how you can Protect on the last turn of your Tailwind to then be able to reapply Tailwind. So we don't need Taunt. Another reason we don't need Taunt is if you're ever going to be taunting something, let's think about what you're taunting. Things like Trick Room, things like Calm Mind, things like Wide Guard, things like a couple other different things. In any of those situations, it's better just to let those things happen and then encore them into those moves again. So in reality, like the encore is like the smarter player's taunt, because like you can just let them do that and then encore them into it and then make their teammate play a 1v2 while one of their teammates is useless. Thank you, Rage Potato, for the sub. 44 months. I did have an epic week and we are back on the grind here, but basically we don't need taunt here. We can cut that. We can put protect in that slot. Right? And then as for the charm, this is one of those things where you're having like charm and taunt and all those things. Realistic, if we're going to be pairing this with Entity, it's probably not the best move, just because it clashes with the terrain. And also, like, what are we charming? Groudon? Are we really charming Groudon? Or are we going into a team that could potentially do something cool to deal with the Groudon? Like, if Groudon's going to be using P-Blades and we have, like, Lunala as a teammate, we can not really care. If they're going to be using Reshiram as a teammate, Reshiram can just blow up the Groudon in most situations, or Zacian, for example, might be able to blow up the Groudon. We could put something like a Helping Hand here. I think Helping Hand would be just a little bit better. That would also let us hit that same Reshiram calc without the use of Groudon. So Helping Hand going to be a little bit valuable here. I also really like the Encore, but I think if you're not familiar with the Encore, Helping Hand's good. And last but not least, Energy Ball. It's a little bit stronger than something like Giga Drain, but because this is a Sashmon, I think it's generally a great idea to put Giga Drain here to be able to recap your Sash if you take any sort of damage from like Sandstorm or Hail Chip or something like that. So Giga Drain going to be a little bit better. You'd be surprised how good Giga Drain can be on teams like this. So hopefully you like the Giga Drain, but I definitely think it's a good way to look at it. So let's take a look at the next mon. The next mon's going to be Zacian. And note that we're not even looking at EVs yet. We're just looking at moves. Good set on the Zacian. Standard set. I don't think there's a problem with that. We'll mess with the EVs when we need to. Indity. Follow Me, Helping Hand, Protect, Expanding Force. Good set. We're going to mess with the EVs when we need to. Groudon. This is a bit of a weird one. I don't think you ever will need the Shadow Claw in this set. What are you hitting with Shadow Claw? Shadow Rider? You can get away with going... Also, Intimidated Groudon won't KO a Shadow Rider with a Shadow Claw in this situation once it crits. So even though we're going to go Vest, I think that you're better off with the Fire Punch here, so you can actually reapply the weather. So like if you know they're going to swap in Ogre, you can go for like a max Flare on the swap to be able to reapply your weather and actually be safe in that situation. So then next turn you can max Quake the Ogre or something like that. So I think the Fire Punch is just a better option here. I really do like the Brick Break though. Brick Break is very underrated on this mon. We'll mess with the EVs in just a little bit. Lunala. I will tell you, I got worked over, right? Hits Lunala and Specs Calius. Well, the thing is, it's like, realistically, you're not going to Oko the Lunala with the Shadow Claw. It's just not a good move. It's just not a good move. And Specs Calius, well, the thing is, it's like, you can just max Quake a Specs Calius. You know what I mean? Realistically, like, that's one of those things to where it might sound like it's good on paper to have the Shadow Claw, but let's actually take a look at it, right? So let's just plug in Shadow Claw. Right? So Shadow Claw, 70, right? It's 4 times super effective against both those mons, but against literally everything else, right? It's just going to be a ×2. So against like a Mewtwo, it would be a 140. Precipice Blades, if it's single target, is a 120. Stabbed goes up to 180, right? And so even though it's going to be AoE'd down to like about 150, that's still stronger than a super effective Shadow Claw in a normal situation. So it just shows that like this is not an optimal move, where I already explained a couple situations where the Fire Punch is valuable, right? Fling Groudon recently fell in love. Yeah, Fling Groudon's good. Fling Groudon's good. We're just going to be using a Vest set. I think the Brick Break's really good. Lunala though, we need the Moongeist Beam. I like to see the Meteor Beam, even though we don't have policy. I actually don't think you need the Meteor Beam in this situation. You're thinking about having Meteor Beam just for Incin, right? And I think that's fine, but this team has enough tools to deal with Incin. I think you can actually cut the Meteor Beam here, because you can Blizzard a Yveltal. You can Blizzard a Thundurus. You don't need Meteor Beam in that situation. It's good against Zard, but like we have Rock Slide, so we don't really need to care about that. I think the Meteor Beam can definitely be cut, and I think the Calm Mind can be cut. And I actually, what was it? I was playing against a Kyogre, and I got absolutely destroyed when I +2 policy procced and Oko'd their Ogre. Or sorry, no, it happened to me. It happened to me. And I think that's worth testing to be also able to go for a max Lightning. I think max Lightning is really, really cool. And last but not least, I'm going to say we try this. I'm going to say that we try it. I think Expanding Force is worth having. I also think there's a potential for Trick Room in this team, but I don't think we need it. But I do think that, like, Expanding Force, like we have with Entity, we might as well just do it. You know what I mean? It's so valuable to potentially have an AoE Mon in this situation. Moonlight's kind of sick with the ability for testing. Moonlight might be good. I was sending my team. After we fix each team, we're going to open up a raffle for people to send in the teams. Isn't TR too strong then, without anything against it? Well, what are you saying is against it? Like, what do you think you do against TR in this situation? Because, like, I want you to actually think about it. Tell me how your opponent's setting TR. Do you have any ideas? Because if your opponent's going with a Palkia TR, I mean, Palkia loses, like, they'd be wasting their TR turns dealing with your redirection, right? So, if they're Palkia TR, you're fine. If they're Cali TR, you can just lead Groudon, Reshiram. You can probably just lead Groudon, Reshiram and just pop most of those things. And I'm assuming they're like a redirection Palkia with like maybe an Amoonguss. So you can just set like a max Lightning into the Amoonguss slot and do whatever you want. And you don't really have to care. But again, I also think that like this is one of those situations where I think that you can also, like, realistically, you could just go, like, Helping Hand, Expanding Force, and, like, almost KO the Palkia that way. Let's calc that. Let's make this right here. You can still almost see that. Let me mess with this for just, like, 1 second. There, you guys can see that now, right? Perfect. All right, so let's go, like, Lunala. So, Lunala, let's give it like a 252, modest. 252 modest, Expanding Force. Psychic Terrain. And go versus Palkia. Right, so Palkia, if it's doubles, is still going to live. Let's set these to 50. Palkia still lives, but like we have the potential for Helping Hand from Entity. So like a Helping Hand boost would give us right there. So we could actually high roll to KO the Palkia. That's ridiculous if they're a sweeper set, right? We could even go no Helping Hand and change our Entity set to have like Entity double tap the Palkia. So like this is a low roll of 58. Let's check out our Entity. So let's check out Entity Female. Let's see what would happen if we double Expanding Force the Palkia. Like a modest set. Or, you know, we'll mess with it when we get to. You guys would be surprised how much damage Entity can do. So that actually KOs the Palkia. In most situations. We haven't given any EVs to it. Like, they're going to have 252 here. But, like, we can go with something like a, what is that? Spelt Spoon? Twisted Spoon? No, not right there. I'm Twisted Spoon. Yeah, that's enough, right? We could also give Entity a move that like might be able to policy proc our Lunala, right? That's definitely an option. Let's see if we get anything like that. So dark attacks we don't get anything. It doesn't get that many ghost attacks. It's like Shadow Ball, right? And we don't want anything. Yeah, Entity doesn't get anything that can proc there. Helping Hand's fine. Cool. So like we're starting to see situations where we can just pop the Palkia, and that's really good. I think that's really, really good. As for the Reshiram, I like the set. I don't think you need the Solar Beam. I actually think that like I understand the Groudon's here, but like if you're fighting against Kyogre, it's not going to be value. You're better off actually trading Max Quakes in with Kyogres. So like I don't think you need Solar Beam like at all. I think realistically you should just make this a Blue Flare. Just to be able to deal a max amount of damage, or even like there's nothing wrong with the Draco Meteor for those late game situations where you just have to send this out and like revenge KO a Kyurem White. So let's make this Draco for now. Wouldn't Shadow Ball be better than Fling? No, it's not. Fling is there to proc our Lunala policy. That's what it's for, right? So that's what this is for. And so now that we have a lot of our moves figured out, and again, if you want to put Protect on this Lunala, you can. I just don't know if we like really need it. Let's start taking a look at our EVs. So the first thing you want to do, make sure your Wims has 0 attack. That's good. This is a good Wim spread. Zacian. I do think this Zacian does not need this much speed. Realistically, you're functioning in a little bit of no man's land here, because we have ability for Tailwind, which can double this stat, but we don't have any real abilities for +1. We're not using any Airstreams. We could probably actually change this to an Air Slash, so we can Airstream there. It's probably a better play. Anyways, yeah, Zacian's wasting a lot of speed. It's right in the middle of being not full speed, right? So it's not as fast as it can be. So it's not forcing your opponent to have a ton of speed, but also it's not like really, really bulky. I'm going to go for Scarlet and Violet. We'll see. I don't really know yet. But basically, like, you have your base 100s, like Charizard's like a 168. You have, like, Mindshell's 105 at 172. You have things like Thundies and Torns at 179. You have Whimsicott a little bit faster. You have base 130s at 200. So this is, like, right in the middle of not being anywhere. So, like, realistically, you can cut all the points down into 36. This lets you outspeed base 105s. Now, you're going to be outsped by things like Kartana, Genies, Whimsicotts, but I think that that's fine. I hope you understand that you're right in the middle of wasting like a couple hundred points in speed, because this thing, the speed set at 36, lets you outspeed 90% of what you would be outspeeding anyways. Yeah, no, it's going to take like 20 minutes before we can get to your team, because we have to finish this one and play some games. But yeah, you're wasting a lot of points on the Zacian at speed. All right. Thank you, Deathmask Divine, for the wonderful support. So yeah, you're wasting a lot of points in speed. You can put those points in other stats. I also think that Zacian doesn't need like this much attack. The most attack I'd ever put into a Zacian is 100, just because you're already... Zacian's so big. It has a 170 base attack stat, and he gets an Intrepid Sword boost. This is all you need to be able to two-shot Incineroar on a switch-in from a Behemoth Blade. You can switch in, Soak the Intimidate, Behemoth Blade, Sacred Sword. That would still kill this in this situation, so you're still good there. I also think it's better to max the HP. So you can max the HP in that situation, and you can cut each of these up into 60. So your Zacian is going to be basically functioning at the same base speed tier. It's going to be just as strong, and it's going to be way, way, way bulkier than the other Zacian you had. Yeah, just copy your Pokemon stats. That's how you do it. So this is what I would say for Zacian. As for Indeedee, we were just talking about what to do with this thing. I think a 252 special attack stat, and we want to be speed... We don't need to be speed reduced, but like we should be. We should realistically be speed reduced. There's nothing wrong with being like a full speed set if we want to be a bully though. And remember, we were talking about using a Twisted Spoon to make sure we have the Calc versus Palkia. You know what? We should just be a full speed set. Let's try the full speed set. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Full speed set. Realistically, we might be changing this just a little bit to a bulkier set, but I want to see how much damage we can actually get. And as for the Groudon, I like what the Groudon's doing. It's wasting a little bit of points in speed, though. This is a little bit too much. Because we have Tailwind, the most that you would need is this to actually outspeed Cali Shadows. But, like, realistically, I think 36 is the most that you're really going to need. And then from there, you actually need a little bit more attack on the Groudon to make it work with these moves. And so we're going to need to cut some of these. Groudon doesn't need that much HP. Yep. So this is just a little bit better Groudon set. You need 156 to be able to OHKO max Mons with things like Rock Slide and get the actual OHKOs you need with P-Blades. Otherwise, you won't be able to break things like Cali Ice. So this is just a better spread. As for the Lunala, 130 is basically, it's kind of like I was talking about before. It's in that no man's land between you're too slow and too fast. You want to be able to make sure at +1 that you're outspeeding the things that you want, which would be Genies, which would be 179. So you want to be 180 at +1, which means realistically, we only need, because remember, this still double on the Tailwind to be faster than Cali Shadows. So we need to be 120 here. And so that means we need 20 points, right? So that's all we need. So look how many points we saved. You're doing a good job on the Lunala in making sure that you're not putting a ton of points in HP, but in reality, this is getting diminishing returns. Anytime you have your HP stat double your specific defensive stats, you're getting diminishing returns. So we want to boost these numbers up so where they're not getting diminishing returns. And in reality, like, you just don't need that much in HP on Lunala. So this is just a much more well-rounded set that still functions relatively at the same speed tier, but you just have a lot more bulk than you had before. Reshiram's also kind of simple. You almost did it flawless. You do still need to be Jolly, but in reality, you can cut this. Instead of having a 44 and putting those last 8 points into HP, you can cut that into 36. And like I said, instead of putting those last 8 points into HP, you can cut it up in 1 point in each of them. Normally, like I always talk about, you want to max out your HP, but in these sort of situations, 1 point in each respective defense is worth a lot more than just max in HP. 1 point in each respective defense is worth more than just 1 HP point. 2 is more than 1. That's why it works. So hopefully the team looks great and works great now. And let's see how it works if we take it into some games. But yeah, I think the team's a lot better than the original one that was submitted. I think the only thing that might be a little bit weird is the Indeedee set. But look what we're playing against in the first game. I was talking about it. It's that Amoonguss Palkia. And so now, because we have a really, really aggressive Indeedee, we can just lead like Indeedee Lunala and just roll that over. There's so many cool things we can do here. Let's see. I think we can go a mixture of like Indeedee Lunala, and if like for some reason the Zacian pops off way too hard, we can bring out the Reshiram to KO that. The only issue that I'm thinking of is the Lecky. Lecky might be a little bit of a downer, so I think we want to go Lunala, Indeedee. I think we're going to bring the Groudon to deal with those two in the back. Groudon's not that great for Giratina, but like I think we're okay. We just have to Rock Slide out. Oh, we can actually go for Zacian. I think that's fine. Yeah, so let's go Lunala. Indeedee, we're probably going to be maxing. I think Zacian's actually still okay here versus like their Zacians and their Palkias and their Giratina. Still bring that. I guess it's Reshiram or Groudon. We have to bring the Reshiram. That works. Cool. Let's try this. So they have potential for fake outs, but we took away the terrain, right? This is such a good position. Now, one thing I really want to talk about is they might max that Lecky. We have to deal with that. Where's the Sash? I think the Sash is more commonly used on Zera, but like Lecky is also a common Sash one. I think it's probably a Life Orb. What we're going to do is we're going to click Expanding Force, and we have to target the one that we actually want to double into because they're probably going to Snarl, huh? That's fine. They're probably going to Snarl and Web, and I think that's okay. But we have to target the one that we really want to target because they might max and take away our terrain. So let's double into the Lecky. Let's see what happens. Plasma Fist. No big deal. Explosion! Yo, pop off, Chief. Hey, go for it. Like, that's absolutely fine. We couldn't have protected anyways. We're not really losing that much here. Go nuts. Yep, that's the combo, right? So in this situation, I think that we're okay doubling into the Giratina. But we'll see. I think I'm going to double into it with Behemoth Blade in case they max, and we're actually going to Wyrmwind here. Good play. I've seen that combo before. It's good. So they're maxing, we're maxing. We have 212 speed. Plasma Fist, it's going to do a little bit. See, that's that bulky Zacian. We would have actually been 2-hit KO by that. Behemoth Blade almost gets the Oko. We take out with the Wyrmwind here. Good to see. And there's their Zacian. So we can pop that thing. Remember, their Zera's at -1 attack right now. We're just going to pop a Protect and go for a Max Flare. That should be able to get the KO. Yeah, we've seen that team before. Plasma Fist gets blocked. I want to see who they're actually attacking. They're doubling into the Zacian, and we get the win. Easy peasy, basically. Not bad. And they forfeit. So we take those wins. Pretty good stuff. Like that. That got a little bit away from us the first turn, but I want you guys to understand that like one really, really important thing about restrictive formats like this is board positioning. When you go all in on a combo like that, and you're not ready to re-up on the combo, like basically what we did was like, I saw this as a potential. I did. Realistically, there wasn't that much I could do about it. I didn't protect on Lunala. I didn't really care about saving the Unity. If you get a double KO like this, you still have a useless Zera, and basically you're going to have to make that Zera, its teammate's going to have to fight a 1v2 in a situation, and if I have the right Mons in the back, I super pin your Maximon, and you just basically lose the game. So restrictive formats, like again, I want to talk about how important it is to make our Zacian that bulky too, to make sure we were well out of the range of the Plasma Fist and everything. Like we were in a really good position there, and there's not that much they could do. Even if they went for like Protects and stuff like that, if they waited out our max turns, we'd regain our Scarf and be able to just repin with Heat Wave, because they would have took the pin damage from the Max Flare. We would have set the Sun, we would have sold the Oko. Like there's no loss in that situation. So good stuff. Awesome. It's a cool team. So they have Trick Room potential with, they have no redirection, but they have Fake Outs. So I think like Indeedee Lunala is good. We could think about going Reshiram and going like for the Fling Tech. Because like Reshiram Groudon's also really good. I put Lunala because I like it more. Do you think Yveltal will be objectively better? I mean, it'd be a different team. Lunala's definitely usable, and it's a great mon. It's just a different team. What I like to do against both of those restricteds is always just Wyrmwind them down, and just make their attack stats so useless. Let's think about this. They're going to be going Incin. Incin's definitely coming. So we need to think about what we need to do versus Incin, and how much we actually care about it. Because, like, I don't know if a Helping Hand Moongeist Beam takes out either of those, but I'm willing to try. I'm willing to try. I think Zacian's going to be okay. I think Groudon and Reshiram are really good there. They're going to get Trick Room up. I just want to see what happens. There's Magearna and Incin. So there's the Incin Magearna. This is the worst lead that we could probably think of fighting. But I think that we might have the tools to get something done. So we could Moongeist Beam Magearna and Helping Hand. And let's just see how much damage Magearna takes. Like, a crit would get the KO. They shouldn't be maxing. They want Trick Room, and then we're going to play defensively for a couple turns and see what we can get done. 31%. So a crit would have gotten the KO. Parting in there, that's fine. So they save the Insane in the back, which is not great. And then what are they bringing in? Dawnwings? Not Dawnwings, sorry, Dustmane? Cali, maybe? Cali's a good bring in. I think we lose the game if they're bringing in Cali. Gastro, okay, cool. Trick Room, awesome. So that's a really low power board. Like, I don't actually care about that board. We can just click expanding and expanding. It's just super low power. You can get a KO on something if you want. This actually still does a lot of damage to either of those. Even though Lunala's at -1 right now, it still does a lot. Indeedee actually does a lot. So we'll see. And if they want to max the Magearna, like, be my guest. We just need to wait out their Trick Room turns. We might actually, the only thing that we might want to do with this team is just, like, put Protect back on Lunala. And since a good switch in, Gastro's going to take a ton of damage once it maxes. Scald's fine. Burn sucks. Yo, we got a sub. Have you started your Scarlet Vow to start it yet? I'm just going to do whatever. Gastron goes down. Cool. It sucks we got burned. Really, really does suck. But it's not the end of the world. So we still have a Groudon. They've wasted their second Intimidate. There's a Magearna back. We can just go Redirection and go for a Moongeist Beam. But thank you so much for the sub. 2 months. Hopefully you're having a good time. Lariat. Oh, take that damage. Hopefully you don't have a Shadow Ball. No Shadow Ball. Splash Cannon. Oh, 8 HP. 8%. Let's go. And let's go. We actually tick out. Oh, we don't tick out. Okay. 2 turns left on TR. I think we just bring out Groudon, right? Is that right? Yep. Dustmane. Awesome. So we're just going to Quake there. We don't want to policy proc that thing. We don't want to policy proc it. So we'll just click like freaking... No, not Moongeist. The only thing we don't want to do is Moongeist. We're not maxing this thing either. It's completely useless. I guess we'll just go for... This is so bad. I guess I'm going to Air Slash this in Sin in case it's like something weird. But like we'll just go for a Quake into that thing. It's probably Shuka, but who knows. But yeah, we should have the right tools to be able to deal with the Dustmane in the back. I'm really, really surprised to see no Cali. Yeah, so we're trading maxes here. 2 turns left on TR. Parting Shot's fine. You have nothing to switch to. Steel Spike's fine. Critical Hit's not fine. Never lucky. 28. Let's see if Lunala can actually get the KO here. Almost. Almost. That's a lefties in Sin. Very, very unique. I'm going to Heat Wave and go for the Quake into the Necrozma. So this turn we'll actually proc the policy because we're going to be going last anyways. Hopefully they can't get our Groudon off the board. It sucks if they were to go for like a Parting Shot and have their Incin not get KO'd by a Heat Wave, or if like I miss a Heat Wave or something like that. But, you know, you do what you can. You do what you can. Are you looking at any viewers' teams or only subscribers? No, it's viewers' teams. It's random people's teams. Fake Out doesn't work, buddy. Mindstorm. Wow, Photon Geyser. Doesn't do shit. Wow, that's weak. And Heat Wave need to hit the Sin. Awesome. So this is now the Trick Room's over. Let's see if we proc policy. No policy. Sun's still up, but it's fine. So Heat Wave again. So now we have speed control. And let's just go for a Quake. And we should be able to get it. But yeah, we're going to be doing random people's teams. Anyone can submit them. Well, basically at the end of every single session, every single team that we fix, we just open it up for people to send teams again. Heat Wave. We get the KO, and we take those wins. So even against Trick Room, I think that it shows that like we're kind of fine. I think, though, that obviously Trick Room's not the best matchup, but you just have to use your redirection correctly. I do think this is a really, really cool team. Lunala might need Protect. Groudon set was cool. Indeedee worked fine. Zacian's a lot bulkier. So, yeah, I'll post a paste in here in case people want to try it out. But, really, really cool team, and I'm happy that it was submitted. So, hopefully you like the changes. And, yeah, thank you so much to Yoshi Kenobi for submitting it. I really like the Lunala. It's a really, really cool mod.